I'm Jess Sargus, high-performance speaker, certified mental performance mastery coach, and your guide to mastering your mental game. I went from Ivy League trained attorney to undefeated MMA fighter and back again. Now I help high achievers in any field live with fierce agency, deep alignment, and the power to win consistently when it matters most. You can do it all when you train your mindset, energy, and focus like elite athletes. That's why this is the Legal Athlete Podcast, where each week I use neuroscience, performance psychology, and real-world battle-tested strategies to help you unlock sustainable excellence, bold decisions, and the courage to show up each day as the badass you are. Green light. Let's go. Welcome back to the Legal Athlete Podcast, where we train your brain, body, and spirit for high performance and personal power with integrity, energy, and purpose. I'm your host, Jess Sargus, and today we're talking about something that feels a little personal and a whole lot powerful. It's a concept you've probably heard before, but maybe haven't examined through the lens of neuroscience and performance psychology yet. I'm talking about the law of averages. The idea that you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It's a catchy summary. It doesn't include a lot of nuance, but it turns out that it may actually hold some scientific water, according to neuroscience and social psychology researchers. And if you're serious about high performance, fulfillment, and impact, you can't afford to ignore it. So let's dig into the science. First, let's talk about some mirror neurons and contagious behavior. When you spend time with someone, your brain doesn't just watch and observe, it participates. Mirror neurons in your brain activate not only when you take action, but when you observe someone else doing it. This means that the behaviors, emotions, and even motivations of your close circle can start to mirror in your own neural wiring through neuroplasticity. That's why being around someone who is calm, focused, or driven can quite literally help you become more calm, focused, or driven. Here's some fascinating work by Dr. Swart on social influence and neuroplasticity. Now, Dr. Swart is a neuroscientist and author of The Source, and explains that your brain's plasticity, its ability to change, is influenced by your closest relationships. The people you spend the most time with shape not only your habits, but also your ability to believe and act on what's possible. If your inner circle is made up of people who pursue excellence, seek out feedback, and operate with clarity, you'll start to do the same. And if it's filled with stress, reactivity, or self-sabotage, your nervous system starts to adapt in that direction too. Dr. Swart also noted that shared behaviors don't just happen psychologically. They leave a physiological imprint. Stress, for example, is contagious, but so is presence. So is courage. Let's hit on regulatory fit and motivation. This is where things get even more interesting. A 2011 study by Rigetti, Finkenauer, and Finkel, published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, found that close partners don't just shape your goals, they shape how motivated you are to pursue them. The study explored something called interpersonal regulatory fit, which basically means that when you and someone close to you share a similar style of motivation, a similar regulatory focus, your drive increases. For example, if you're promotion focused as your regulatory focus, you're energized by growth, ambition, and reward. And if your close partner is too, you're likely to feel more aligned, supported, and activated towards your goals. That shared motivational style creates emotional synergy, and that synergy enhances grit, resilience, and execution. That's in contrast to, say, if you're promotion focused, again, energized by growth, ambition, and reward, and your close partner is prevention focused. They're focused on non-loss, on safety and security. So in that instance, where there is one promotion-focused regulatory style partner and one prevention-focused regulatory style partner, you do not see this same impact and benefit on motivation. That means that it's not just who's around you that impacts how you achieve your goals. It's how you fit with those who are around you, particularly those closest to you. And that has real consequences for how consistent, confident, and committed you are in the face of resistance. Now let's talk about one more thing that's really fascinating, the Christakis Fowler effect and Bandura's social learning theory. Now, research from Nicholas Christakis and James Fowler also has showed that your health, happiness, and habits are significantly influenced by who's in your social network, even extending up to 3 degrees of connection. For example, if your friend becomes obese, they found that your risk of becoming obese increases by 57%. Or, even startlingly, if your friend's friend gets happier, it improves your mood. Why? Because you're embedded in a living, breathing web and tapestry of behavioral modeling. Albert Bandura's social learning theory also echoes this. We learn not just by doing, but by watching others do. And when we see people we relate to act with courage, discipline, or integrity, we're more likely to replicate those actions ourselves. So, what does this mean for you? If you want to rise, surround yourself with people who are already reaching, people who challenge your comfort zone, people whose very presence feels like a nudge towards your best self. And if you're promotion focused, you're energized by growth and advancement, try to find a close personal partner who has that same regulatory focus, that same promotion focus, so that you can enjoy the greatest benefits of the motivation that you get from that kind of close relationship. And if you're in leadership, be that presence for others, because you don't just shape culture through policies, you shape it through proximity and through your focus. So, what's your challenge this week? Audit your 5. Who is getting the most time, the most energy, the most mind share from you? And are they aligned with where you're going? Are they helping you be more of who you really want to be? Because your brain, your performance, and your future are already reflecting that circle. I'm not saying that you need to disentangle yourself from everyone who doesn't have that same sort of regulatory focus as you do. What I am saying is be intentional about the people you spend the most time with and where you gain your motivation, because that can have a significant impact on your growth, your success, and how supported you feel on your rise. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Legal Athlete Podcast. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone you want to grow and rise with. Until next time, train smart, live bold, and lead yourself with fierce agency. That's a wrap. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Legal Athlete Podcast. If today's episode fired you up or gave you something to train with, hit follow, leave a review, and share it with a fellow high achiever who's ready to raise their game. Want to bring this energy to your team, firm, or event? Or are you ready to train for your next high-stakes moment with me directly? Click the link in the show notes to connect. I'm Jess Sargus, and I coach the bold. Lawyers, leaders, and anyone ready to lead their life with fierce agency. Green light. Let's go.